Even though the election recently took place, please note that I am still going to keep my lane and talk about sports. Alright, on with the video. It finally happened, folks. The Troy Trojans won a Sun Belt Conference game. Despite all the injuries and all the adversity, we at least salvaged the season by not going winless in conference play. It took 8 games, but I think Gerard Parker might finally have an offense that really works. It would have been nice if we figured it out before we started 1-7, but hey, it's the start. My only hope is that he can recruit well. Like I mentioned last video, the Cajuns got a win over the Texas State Bobcats 23-17 in San Marcos. The Cajuns look like a dangerous team, as they are now 7-1 with their only loss being to the Tulane Green Wave. Can they ride the momentum to the Sun Belt Championship? Only time will tell. Well, the Warhawks actually played them a lot closer than I thought they would. Good to see they haven't lost heart, even though their chances at a Sun Belt title are all but vanished. And if it wasn't for the late choke by Marshall in Statesboro, the Herd would actually have the lead in the entire East right now. Just goes to show what 7 minutes can do to a team. And this is why I did not trust Old Dominion from the start. They're too mediocre to really make an impact in the Sun Belt Conference. Losing to this App State team when you had all the momentum in the world? For shame. Okay, can we please start calling you the Cardiac Eagles from now on? This is another game you had to fight back from. This time you were down by 16. This might be the most insane season for the Eagles ever, and I'm all for it. Just don't beat us too hard November 16th, okay? Penultimate non-conference game of the season for the entire Sun Belt Conference, and it did not go so well. The only reason this looks close is because Georgia State tacked on 2 garbage time touchdowns. UConn will go bowling while Georgia State looks at 2-6 with a rough 4 games coming up. And almost no chance at bowling. Well, you know what they say in Atlanta, there's always next year. And that is not it for this video, because now I have to look at the conference and see their paths to the Sun Belt title game, and where they stand in the conference. It's going to look a little different this time around though. On the far left, we have the true contenders of the division. That would be Georgia Southern, Marshall, Louisiana, and Arkansas State. Georgia Southern has the head-to-head advantage over Marshall, so they control their own destiny to the championship game. But if they lose even one game, Marshall will leapfrog them. The Eagles actually have a decently easy schedule ahead of them, with the toughest game being Coastal Carolina on the road. Their other games are Troy at home and App State also at home. So it's going to be a little tough for Marshall to get there, because Georgia Southern just has that easy of a path. But hey, crazier things have happened. Then you have Louisiana and Arkansas State. Both can actually win out and make it to their conference title game if they just beat their opponent on November 9th, because they face each other in Lafayette, Louisiana. If Louisiana wins, it's pretty much smooth sailing to the championship for them. If Arkansas State wins, chaos. In the second column, we see 3 teams that are competitive, but just not quite contenders in the Sun Belt. Old Dominion, South Alabama, and ULM reside in this column. Between the 3, I'd actually think it'd be more likely to see Old Dominion in the Sun Belt Championship game instead of South Alabama or ULM, because they can also leapfrog Georgia Southern if the Eagles lose. And then it would be Marshall, Old Dominion, allegedly for the East. But as far as the Monarchs go, they're kind of just there. In fact, between all these 3 teams, I would be more concerned about making a bowl than actually making it to the title game to begin with. In the third column, we see teams that basically have to win out, or their conference championship hopes are pretty much over. James Madison, Coastal Carolina, and Texas State reside here. Amazingly, the Dukes can finish the season 10-2, but it doesn't really matter if Georgia Southern wins out because they have the head-to-head tiebreaker over them and one more game over them for that matter. So they're going to need a lot of help to actually make it to the Sun Belt title game. At least you already made a bowl, so you don't have to worry about not making it there. The same can't be said for Coastal Carolina and Texas State. While the Chanticleers did get a nice win last night over App State, they still need a bunch of help to make the Sun Belt Championship game. And also, they lost to Troy, so that's not really helping them in any situation whatsoever. Texas State frustrates me on so many levels. They feel like they should be the best team in the Sun Belt West, but end up tripping up themselves one too many times and have fallen into the category of you need to win out to make it. But actually, they have one of the easier remaining schedules to win out and actually make it in. Unfortunately, Louisiana is so far ahead of everyone else that it kind of doesn't matter. And on the far right column, which has App State, Georgia State, Troy, and Southern Miss, we have the teams that are certainly not making the conference championship game. It could be mathematically possible, but in your cases, it's more likely for a meteor to strike the Earth than you winning the Sun Belt title game. Sorry, it's the truth. And that'll do it. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, ring the bell, and don't forget about John 3:16. And I'll see you next time. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9. God saved you by his grace when you believed. And you can't take credit for this. It is a gift from God. Salvation is not a reward for the good things we have done, so none of us can boast about it.